Another one of the most dug questions, Governor, is from Digg, a Digg user with 1,056 digs. What is your stance on the legalization, cultivation, and regulation of marijuana in the state of California?
Well, I like the law that we have in place, and there is, I don't believe in legalizing marijuana, but I am always open to, for the debate, because there's people that feel differently. And I said, I'm always interested in debating any of those issues because there's always different ways of looking at it. And I think that it will be interesting to see the information that is available, if there's any information available, of how well countries are doing that have legalized marijuana. But I don't think that information is available, and one has to see that. But I believe in the law, the way the law is right now, and I think that has worked very well for the state of California. And I think it would be a mistake to just go and legalize something that we don't believe in just because it will produce an extra $1 billion in revenues. I think that we just have to learn how to live within our means rather than trying to do things that we really don't want to do.
New polls actually show that more than half of Californians support legalizing marijuana. So would that sway your stance on it whatsoever in this open debate that you're calling for? Would it sway your opinion?
Well, it could very well go an initiative one day where they ask the voters directly. That could very well be. And if the voters make that decision, that's fine. But I think that it is very important for us not to make certain decisions just because they will bring in some extra money. And I think this is why people have been talking about that in California, to go in that direction and to start debating that issue, because it will produce, as they said, $1.3 or $1.4 billion on extra revenues.
Yeah, in the $21 billion budget issue there. We have another question, of course, from S. French with 836 digs. California is one of the most economically rich regions in the entire world. We were just alluding to this. Why do we have a massive debt and unbalanced budget, Governor?
Well, I think that you're absolutely right. California is the golden state. It is the state with the greatest opportunities. And, we have a place here that I wouldn't want to live anywhere else but in California. It's really a fantastic place. That's why so many people from around the world want to come here. But we do have a system in place that is dysfunctional. We have a tax system that is outdated, where we rely on 1% of the rich, of the taxpayers to pay 50% of the taxes, which are the rich people. And so when we have an economic downturn, then our revenues have a drop of like 20%, and it's based on what is going on Wall Street rather than what is going on here economically in our state. So that has to be changed, and I think that we have a tax commission, a bipartisan tax commission that is looking at that right now, and that they will come with their findings in July, and then we will include that in our decision making. So that's number one. That has been a huge problem, and that's created a huge drop in revenues, which has been 27.5% on drops. I mean, just last September, we were projecting $104 billion, revenues, and now we have $76 billion in revenues. So that is a huge hit, and that means that we have to make tremendous amount of cuts on programs that are devastating to the people, and also especially in education. So that's number one reason. The number two reason, of course, is we have always spend more money than we have this state. And I think that we have to stop that. We should not live beyond our means. We wanted to raise some extra revenues, but the people in the special election have voted against that, so we lost $6 billion right there. So now we have to go and redo our budget that we have done already last February, and since then we have an additional $24 billion of deficit. So we're going to get together, Democrats and Republicans, this coming month, and we're going to work. Everyone has promised that the deadline will be met, which is June 30th, and I have faith in our legislators and legislative leaders that they will get together, Democrats and Republicans, and solve this problem once and for all.
Now here's the thing, Governor. I was born and raised in California, and for as long as I can remember, there has always been a budget issue. Why is that? What is fundamentally wrong with the system that we see this year after year?
Well, as I said, the problem that we have is, like I said, the tax system. But we have additional problems. That is, we have a dysfunctional budget system itself because we have no rainy day fund. like other states and cities have. We don't have a spending cap, so that when we have revenue surges and the revenues shoot up in the good years, then we spend off that money, and then we have no money to draw from when we have bad years. So it just has been like this for 60 years. I've tried to change the budget system now 3 times, and we've failed to do so. That doesn't mean we're going to give up, because with redistricting reform, we have tried 5 times, and the 6th time we finally did win, and now we will have redistricting reform. So I never give up. I'm not a quitter. I work very hard, and eventually we're going to get those reforms done. But that's one of the other big problems that we have in our budget system.